Hi there and welcome. This is Gina from McGuire. Today I have a made in minutes video for you. It's a little bit more than 10 minutes, but this is the best I could do because I have several cards. I got carried away again. But in this video, I'm going to share with you a fun use of the kissing technique with stamping. This is where you take two stamps and kiss them together to get a different look out of the stamps that you have. I have several examples for you and I hope you'll give this technique a try. Okay, this is the stamp set that I'm using for the technique today. This was designed by Reverse Confetti for Simon Says Stamp as part of the Stamptember celebration, so you can only get it at Simon Says Stamp and for limited time only. This is called Wonderful You, and it's this great outline image, but then also separate images so you can do different leaves in different colors. There are also some wonderful sentiments. I thought this would be perfect for the technique today. I also used a few different background stamps. Now for this technique, you need some background stamps that have fine detail to it. In this case, I thought the fine lines would be perfect for the kissing technique. We also have this from My Favorite Things that is just a bunch of dots that are close together. Another one that's great for the kissing technique. And then finally, this one from Gina Designs. It's a gauze stamp and it works great. So anything with a fine pattern you can try. It doesn't even have to be a background stamp, but those seem to work really well. I'll be using a MISTI stamping tool today since I'm stamping so many images, but you definitely could do this technique with an acrylic block if you prefer. I'm stamping the outline images first onto white cardstock using Reverse Confetti Stone ink. This is a softer shade of gray that I really like because if you stamp it twice, it becomes a little bit darker. And that's what I decided to do for today's example, but you could stamp it once for a lighter image. Now I am going to stamp a bunch of these outline leaves so that I can make several cards today. Okay, after stamping all of the outlines, it's time to start stamping the leaves. So I'll take the first image and you can see this stamps some of the leaves so we can do different colors. Now this isn't meant to perfectly line up. This has got a little artsy feel to it and I really like that. Since I've never used this stamp, I'm wiping it with a dry cloth just to prepare it. And now we can apply our ink. I'm using a light Altenew ink. This is Altenew Limeade. Any ink would work for this technique. You definitely want to start with a lighter color for this first step. I'll go ahead and stamp this on a bunch of my panels so I have lots of them going. Okay, now it's time to do the kissing technique, which will add those stripes onto our leaves. For this, I'm using the Hero Arts Ocean Waves background stamp. I will remove the pad from my MISTI stamping tool and put the cling stamp into the MISTI stamping tool with the rubber side facing up. Now I'm going to take a slightly darker ink than the first one we used. This is Altenew Lime. I'm going to ink up my cling stamp and then I'm going to press the clear stamp onto it. That transfers the pattern onto our clear stamp. And now I put the pad back in and my paper back in and I stamp it again. And check it out, we end up with lines that were kissed onto the stamp and now onto our leaves. So let me do that again for another one. I remove the pad from my MISTI and put the cling into it. I will clean my clear stamp completely. The leaf stamp is completely clean. I will ink up my cling stamp. Then I will kiss the clear stamp onto the cling. So we're picking up the ink that's on that stamp. And now I put the pad back in, my paper back in, and I stamp. You get into a rhythm doing this, and it's really quick to go through and stamp a bunch of these at once. So it took me about an hour to do all of the stamping. I think I did about 12 of these, but then my cards came together very quickly. On some of my pieces, I decided to use different background stamps. This is the Gina Gauze. I wanted to show you what that looked like. So I'm doing the same process, and when I stamp it onto my leaves, you'll see that I get like a gauze pattern, kind of like a textured linen look. It's really cool. Then I also did one using the My Favorite Things dots background, so you can see the different looks that you get. So kissing works best when you have a solid stamp like the leaves here. Even bigger would be better. And then a background stamp or a stamp with lots of detail. So there you can see the polka dot leaves here. Now let's move on to another set of leaves in the set. So I line the leaves up. This time I'm going to use Mountain Mist ink from Altenew. It's a light bluish color. And then after I've stamped that on a bunch of them, we're going to do the kissing technique once again. So I have a slightly darker ink. This is Volcano Lake. And I'm inking up my cling stamp, kissing it against the clean, clear stamp. And then we'll stamp it onto the paper. And then we will have that texture on our blue leaves also. So I created a bunch of backgrounds this way. We have polka dot, we have gauze, we have striped. Lots of them are ready to go. Now the coordinating die is available for this stamp set. I didn't have it, so I went ahead and just cut them out, but I have everything ready to make several cards. Let's start with the first one that you see here. Let's make that piece that you see in the center that's blue. I'm using the reverse confetti stitched hex tag die, which I've used in videos before. Instead of using this as a tag, I want to make a smaller label. This is how I did that. I ran it through my die cut machine. This is the Spellbinders Platinum 6, but you could use any machine you have. After I ran it through once, I'm going to do so again, but I'm offsetting it. See how I'm lining up the sides? I'm going to put some tape on that so it doesn't shift and run it through again. And this will cut a piece that is smaller, and it allows us to remove that hole from the top. This is a perfect spot for a sentiment in the center of a card. Now I have all my leaves that I've cut out, and I'm just arranging them onto a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch piece of cardstock. There's no glue on the back of this. This is my favorite way to arrange pieces. Once I have them all arranged, I'm going to take Glad Press and Seal and lay a piece on top. This has a little bit of stick on one side when you press it down, and it'll allow me to pick up all these pieces together. If you do not have Glad Press and Seal, you can also use a piece of masking paper or strips of masking tape. So after I pressed it down, I'm going to remove that white cardstock, and I have all my pieces perfectly positioned, and on the back I can put some foam tape. This is a trick that I think Lori Willison came up with, and she did a video for my channel. I'll link to that video and to her YouTube channel here. She is amazing. Okay, so now that I have tape on the back of all of them, I'm going to put it onto a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch piece of white cardstock, press it all down, and then remove that piece of press and seal, which I can reuse several times. Okay, so I used my Stardust glitter pen to trace all of that outline stamping. This makes a really big difference. It makes this card extra special. It's got this shine to it when you tilt it in the light. By the way, that sentiment in the center was white heat embossed, and it is included in that Wonderful You stamp set that I showed you earlier. Here close up, you can see the shimmer that we added, that glitter shine to the outline image, and that striping effect that we got on our leaves thanks to the kissing technique. This technique is one that takes a little bit of time extra to do, but it's fun to do, and it changes up the results. Okay, my next example uses leaves that are all the same color, but I used a different stamp for kissing on each of the leaves. The sentiment on this one is from the Reverse Confetti Butterfly Blossom stamp set. Love that butterfly, and on this I used the Here For You Always. I silver heat embossed it on that white piece, arranged everything on the front of a piece of cardstock, lifted up with my press and seal once again, same process, put foam tape on the back of it all, and now I can glue it down onto my white cardstock piece. This is so much easier than trying to put foam tape on the back of the pieces and get them all tucked into the right position. I can remove the paper, and there we have everything ready to go. So I trimmed this down a bit and added it to a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch note card that I made from My Favorite Things Summer Splash cardstock. I also added some gems. Look closely at those leaves. Some are striped, some have the gauze pattern, and some have dots. I thought it would be fun to mix it up. This would be a very simple card, but thanks to those little details that I added via kissing, it has a lot more interest to it. Okay, time for another example. I tell you, I had a lot of fun playing with these. In this case, I added some flowers and also some interest to the background. This is the Reverse Confetti Stitch Circle die. It has circles that are cut out and some dots, and then also some faux stitching. Really like this die. So I cut it twice from white cardstock and glued them together for dimension. Off screen, I also created several flowers using an older Reverse Confetti stamp set. However, there's a newer one out called Reverse Confetti Blooms. I recommend checking it out. It has very similar images and would be perfect for this. Okay, so after I've arranged all of my flowers on the front of my card, I don't have any glue on the back, I picked it up using my Glad Press and Seal. And now the fun part about this is I can move it around and figure out where I want to position it. I actually decided to change what I had planned and put the flowers towards the top of my card. It was easy to change my mind thanks to doing that technique. For the sentiment on this card, I used a new reverse confetti stamp set called Sentimentally Yours. This has some beautiful sentiments in it, and I really like the style of them. I decided to go with the one that says, "Thanks for always being there." I stamped it with black ink onto a white cardstock strip and tucked that in to peek out from behind the flowers. I also added some Lucy's Cards Papaya Pearls and scattered those around the background. So here you can see the polka dots that I had stamped onto my leaves using that kissing technique. And then also the fun background that we created by using that white on white with that cover die from Reverse Confetti. Now for my next card, I wanted a little bit of a different look, so I added more color to it, but again used leaves using the kissing technique. The sentiment on this one is from the Reverse Confetti Sentimental Sane stamp set. This is another one with great sentiments in it, and I used the one that says, "Life is tough, but so are you." Now I stamped it onto one of those shapes that I created earlier using the hex tag die, but I wanted it to be narrow, and this will give it a completely different look. So I'm just cutting a little bit off the edges, and check it out. You have a different shape piece for your sentiment. So look at your dies a little bit differently. You never know the different looks you can get from them. So I'm not going to show you the process of this. It's the same as the others. I used the press and seal to get the arrangement right, added it to a white cardstock strip, and then I have a background that I created using that same reverse confetti background die, and I just put it onto a note card. Here you can see those stripes that we have on our leaves thanks to that kissing technique. Oh, and by the way, I did add some pearls on the background. Those are the Snowball Pearls from Lucy's Cards. I think this one was my favorite, and I plan to make more in different colors. Okay, I had one leaf left over to use on a card, so I created this simple card. I used the background die once again. This time I added the word blessings. This is from the Simon Says stamp, All the Thanks stamp, and I used the coordinating die to cut it out. I thought that was perfect against this leaf, and then I added a few little gems. On this particular leaf, I used that Gina Gauze stamp for the kissing. So I hope this inspires you to look at solid images you have and then background stamps with detail that you have that you can use for the kissing technique to get a completely different look from your stamps. If you wanted to check out the products I used here, they are linked in my YouTube description below. You can also go to my blog, which I link up here on the top right. In the middle are a couple other videos that are related to this one that I think you might have some fun watching. I appreciate the time that you spent with me. We'll see you again soon and have a wonderful week.